Hey guys, welcome back to another Dragonheir Silent Gods video. In this video I'm going to be talking all about my decisions on the heroes that I've chosen to keep leveled up after the reset has ended for the first start of the season. Before I get into that though, I just want to say a huge thank you to Dragonheir Silent Gods for sponsoring this video and helping to support my channel. So if you are interested in giving Dragonheir a go, please do hit the link in the description or the pinned comment and get involved today. So at the start of each season, you get a few days where you can reset your heroes back to level 1 as many times as you want and get all of the resources you've invested into them back. Apart from scrolls, those won't be returned. But anything you've leveled up anything you want to level up and try out, you're able to do so freely. Meaning you're able to swap between different teams to do certain areas of content and everything like that over that period. However, today was the first day where we weren't able to do that. Or maybe yesterday, actually. So I'm going to be talking through the decisions I've made, what heroes I've chosen and why I've chosen them, as well as talking about what I plan on building out from this as well. So first of all, you want to make sure that you're able to do all of the important areas of content. And realistically, at this point of the game, that is Goblin's Lair and that is Vortex. So you want to make sure that each day you're able to hit the Vortex boss and you're able to use your energy into farming Goblin's Lair. In doing so, you'll also make sure that you can farm the domains that you kind of need to farm to upgrade your heroes. However, one of the big things is prior to this point, you should have farmed a good chunk of the upgrade materials already anyway. So in terms of the heroes, I'm going to run through them quickly now, and then I'll show some of the areas where I'll show you some of the teams that I've built around that. So first of all, I've picked Ashetius, the Burn exclusive. So I don't have his exclusive artifact, however, without that still he is a really good AoE damage dealer for me. And I've got Durham to enable him. So this gives me 2 fire damage dealers, and that is really important, and I'll cover that in just a minute. Next up, I've got one of my supports, and that's Elminster. So with the rest of the teams I've picked, I don't have any AoE attack penalty. So having somebody who was able to bring that for me was really important for Vortex, as much as I only needed a single target there. Having somebody within my team that was able to reduce the damage I was taking was really important to me. And he also brings a huge amount of shields as well. So all in all, Elminster was a really good pick, given the fact that I'm kind of focusing on fire and radiance for the time being. Next up, I've got Vinyara. So Vinyara was one of my picks because of her ultimate skill. The fact that she reduces ultimate energy, she removes all buffs from the target, and she also brings a single target attack penalty. So I've picked Vinyara to enable me to do Grave of Curse. She's pre-leveled ready for Ancient Battlefield. And anything else where I might need to deal with buffs. For example, the Lightning Domain. If I choose to level some Lightning and Necrosis heroes, I need to be able to deal with the hit recovery buff that the boss gets, or the damage reduction on the adds that the boss spawns. So Vinyara was a kind of no-brainer pick to me. She just covers so many different areas. And as much as she doesn't fit into my elemental affinities that I'm working on currently, she is definitely going to be used throughout the entire season on my account, so it was definitely worth investing in for the kind of immediate future. Next up, I've got Ardreth. So Ardreth is one of my 2 tanks I'm using in my teams, and she complements Garius, who I've also picked, so well, given the fact that she boosts all healing received by your team by 50% from her ultimate skill. So this, paired with the fact that Garius is using his ultimate to heal everybody and then grant shields from his artifact, it just provides a perfect synergy where you're able to get massive shields, massive healing for your team, and stay alive way longer than you would otherwise. So next up, I'm going to cover the new... In fact, first of all, I'll cover Garius. Obviously, I've just touched on him slightly. So on his ultimate skill, brings insane healing, and he is wearing the Gatekeeper's Staff artifact as well. So that's why I've picked Garius. He just covers basically anywhere I need a tank at the moment. Garius fits that job. Then I've got my second type of damage. So I've got, obviously, like I said, I've got my burn team, so they're fire damage. But I've also gone for aura. So I've got some radiant damage coming into my team. And the reason for this is when you're progressing through the adventure areas, there are so many of the elemental golems that are immune to a certain type of damage. So if I went all in on just fire damage dealers or just radiant damage dealers, I'd approach areas where I wasn't actually able to do damage to them, apart from with my tanks or my Elminster if they're immune to radiant damage in that case. So having 2 different types of damage really works well for helping you to progress through that story, get your adventure level up, and unlock new things, such as being able to take your heroes to the next rank or the Forge. So This is originally why I chose to go with Aura, because they also fall into the same elemental pairing. So when I'm upgrading my Psyche Core, I can upgrade both teams at the same time. So for the Aura heroes I've chosen, I have the exclusive legendary without her artifact. I've got Aemon Leda, and she is the queen of early game. Given the fact that her passive guarantees she's going to critically hit, she doesn't need to be built with any crit rate at all. So you're able to pump all of your stats into attack and crit damage, and it allows you to get a huge amount of damage out in the early game without sacrificing those stats for crit rate. So she is such a strong hero in the start of the game. I don't know how well she's going to fare later on in the season. She didn't seem very impressive in the test server, but that could have been the fact that Corrosion was so strong on the test server that maybe it just overshadowed her and she's actually not that bad at all. Either way, going forward, I know for a fact I will use her for the continental bosses. I'll use her for the end game boss, no doubt, because she does so much damage with the well, just in general, she does do a lot of damage regardless of whether it's top tier or not. And alongside her, I've got Theohine. So Theohine is an epic hero who does an immense amount of damage as well. So I'm using both of these two as my aura damage dealers. I'm not using an enabler for them. I do have Linkos, the legendary. However, at the time, it's just not worth my legendary books, or legendary scrolls to go into him. So for the time being, I've stuck with Theohine and Aemon Leda as my secondary. Well, actually, they've become my primary damage dealers. I use them everywhere. I will do a separate video on how strong I think Aura is at the start of the game, but for now, we'll just leave it as that they are very good at the moment. And this epic does pack a punch and can kind of not quite keep up, but really compete with damage with Aemon Leda, despite the fact that she is the exclusive legendary. Finally, my last pick, and it's not quite finished yet, is Acilia. So the reason I've chosen Acilia is if I wanted to bring in a kind of out-and-out healer, Acilia is great for that. But the most important thing is I have no way of dealing with debuffs at the moment outside of Acilia. So when we unlock Grave of Rot at level 24, which will be tomorrow, Acilia is going to be key to helping me progress that. So Grave of Rot places so many debuffs on you, and she's able to deal with all of those. So her ultimate skill dispels all debuffs, but then also grants debuff immunity for 10 seconds, and obviously provides a large amount of healing as well. So all in all, she is kind of the perfect option for that. Sometimes people may want to use 2 cleansers for Grave of Rot, but Acilia will be able to do the job on her own. So she has gone into my team as one of my picks. So that is all of the options I've kind of gone for at the moment. As you can see, it is very dominant in fire and necrosis, fire and radiance, which is why my next few levels that I'm going to put into people is going to be building out a team capable of farming fire domain to take my fire and radiance team to rank 5 once we unlock that. So for that, I'm likely going to go for an ice blast route. So if we just have a little look at the filters a sec, so ice and poison. In terms of supports, I'm actually quite limited. I don't have Ogok, I don't have some of the strong ice supports like Fiendja, the new legendary. I don't have Philosia. So I'm probably going to be using Vikuk. And the reason for that is I'm going to pair him with Fruabath. So Fruabath does a lot of healing anyway, and as much as Vikuk's healing isn't that strong, he does bring a AoE cleanse, which is going to be really good for the fire domain to get rid of those burn debuffs. So these two are going to be the kind of foundation of my team. So it'll be Fruabath with Vikuk. I've already got Vinyara leveled, so she'll probably go into that team as well. And then paired with that, I will bring in Shinna, and I will bring in Beldel. So Shinna and Beldel will be my damage dealers for my team. However, I will run Witch's Remains on my Shinna to place the defense penalty. So that's the next kind of step that I'm going to branch out into, just making sure that I've got a capable team for a third element. And in doing so, I will make sure that I've got 15 heroes capable of clearing the continental bosses in the first week. That way, I don't have to stress about building teams for that on the first week. I've got 3 different elemental 3 different damage types are able to go into that and hopefully get me the best rewards possible. I may need to build up another tank or another healer. We'll see how that plays out. But I imagine between Acilia, Elminster, Garius, and Ardreth, I should be able to cover 2 teams. They are very strong, as much as they do complement each other. So that is kind of my goal for the time being. There are other teams that I'd like to branch out. I'd really like to build a shadow team around Ozil and Daphne. they look incredibly fun. However, the support in Lightning and Necrosis isn't great. I will probably be using Fathom down as my Lightning tank, with Nathaniel being the healer and shielder in the team. So that is kind of something for me to think about in the future, that's for sure. There is lots of different things I know I'll be building out over the season, but for now I want to make sure that I can deal with Vortex, I want to make sure I can deal with Goblin's Lair, and I want to make sure that I can deal with any of the adventure areas. But at the same time, these teams also work well for me in dungeons. So I'm currently able to clear stage 9 of Grave of Curse. So I'm able to clear Goblin Lair 5 level 2 stage 5, sorry, and that's 3 stars. The domains I've not pushed massively high. I've not actually done Tempest Domain apparently, but Flame Domain and Frost Domain I have done to level 3. I will push them further in the next few days. But Grave of Venom stage 8, Grave of Curse stage 9, and Heretical Ruin stage 8. These are the only dungeons available at the moment, so we don't have Grave of Rot and we don't have Ancient Battlefield. But I am using these heroes to be able to farm legendary gear in all of the other dungeons. So they've ticked every box that I've been asking for, and obviously the last one, Acilia, will tick the box for Grave of Rot as well. As well as that, I've been able to progress the Famiander each day using these teams. So all in all, the choice to build the teams that I have already paid off, and as well as that, I'm doing 17 million damage in Vortex, and that is using a combination of Garius, Ardreth, Elminster, and my 2 aura damage dealers. So if we have a look at the team I'm using, like I said, I'm going to do a separate video on aura, so keep an eye out for that in the next couple of days. So I'll showcase this team in that. But yeah, this is kind of, well, those are my foundations that I've chosen to build out from for the rest of the season. And obviously, because of doing that, all of my Psychic core bonuses are going into upgrading Radiance and Fire to give them the best possible stats and allow me to push further in the game. So that is all for this video today, guys. I do just want to say once again a quick thank you to Dragonheir Silent Gods for sponsoring the video. Do make sure you click the link in the description or the pinned comment to get involved. But other than that, just a huge thank you to you for watching the video, and I'll see you in the next one.